The sun glinted off the iron gates of Buckingham Palace. Cobblestones radiated heat, and the sky stretched clear and blue. Tourists clustered like birds, all aiming their phones at one of Britain's oldest living symbols, a Queen's Guard in scarlet. He stood motionless. He breathed without sound. He blinked on rhythm, not instinct. Sergeant Thomas Wren, 35, 8-year Army veteran, 3 deployments in Syria and Helmand Province. Now a ceremonial post, but no less serious. He did not break stance, not for heat, not for exhaustion, not for amusement. To him, every second in uniform was sacred. Every second was for the ones who couldn't wear theirs anymore. Across the courtyard, Lexi King adjusted her selfie stick. 24 years old. 6.1 million followers. Her brand? Unfiltered dares. Raw reactions. Royal laughs. Today's challenge? Make the stone soldier laugh. Guard challenge. London clown check. Lexi applied a final coat of gloss to her lips. Behind her, her camera crew, 2 guys in graphic tees, gave a thumbs up. Lexi to camera. Okay, guys, today we're going viral again. You know I've broken street performers, French mimes, and a wax dummy once. But today, we're leveling up. Wink. We're at Buckingham. Let's go melt a royal guard. She strutted toward the post. A few tourists turned. Some smirked. Others looked away. Not everyone liked watching someone push boundaries. Lexi stood inches from Thomas Wren. Lexi, mocking. Hi, I'm Lexi. You blink yet today? You can blink if you're a real person. Wren didn't move. She leaned closer, arms exaggerated. Lexi, louder. What's it like pretending to be a statue? Is it like your only talent? Tourists murmured. A father with his son muttered, Not again. An elderly woman shook her head, but the camera kept rolling. Lexi turned to it. Lexi. This guy's good, but let's see if he can handle props. From her designer purse, she pulled out a compact makeup case. Lexi, giggling. Just a little touch-up, handsome. With a dramatic swirl, she dipped a powder puff in white highlighter. Then slapped it toward Wren's face. It missed his eye by an inch, but dusted his cheek and collar. The crowd gasped. Someone said, What the hell? A child cried. Wren didn't flinch. Not one eyelash twitched. But he saw everything. Felt everything. The powder on his uniform once pressed crisp at 5 a.m. The mockery, the camera, the crowd. And more than anything, the memories that uniform represented being reduced to a joke. A woman whispered, Shouldn't someone stop her? A tourist guide radioed security. Lexi turned to the camera. Lexi. You guys, he didn't even move. Is he even real? Laughs. This is content. You're welcome. Then she turned to Wren again. Lexi, smirking. Got anything to say, Mr. Royal Statue? But before she could lift her powder puff again, From across the courtyard came a firm, commanding voice. Guard. Protocol override. Permission granted. Lexi blinked. Lexi. Wait. What? But Ren was already moving. For the first time in 8 hours. He turned. Gasps rippled through the square like a dropped stone in still water. Sergeant Thomas Wren moved. First, just a turn of the head. Precise. Controlled. Then he pivoted fully, his polished boots scraping against the stone like a drawn blade. Tourists froze, cameras lowered. Even the birds seemed to pause. Lexi, confused but still smug, turned to the camera. Lexi, nervous chuckle. Wait, was that supposed to happen? Wren stepped forward. One clean step. He stood at parade rest. His gloves gleamed with powder and sunlight. His voice, when it came, was low, steady, and unmistakably military. Wren, do you want a performance, or do you want a lesson? The square fell silent. Wren, facing the crowd, never shouting. You came for content, for the mask, for the image. He gestured to his own chest, powder still clinging to red wool. But this isn't just color. This is memory. Every thread in this coat was ironed this morning in silence. Not for me, for the people who can't wear theirs anymore. Lexi, still recording, lowered her arm slightly. You saw a mannequin. I saw my best friend, Lance Corporal Emery, age 23, who never came home from a road in Basra. You saw a hat. I saw the folded flag handed to a mother who couldn't look anyone in the eye. Wren took one more step forward. He wasn't charging. He wasn't threatening. He was reclaiming ground. You came here looking for a laugh, for a reaction, for a breakdown. But I've stood through mortars, through body bags, through families asking why it wasn't me. So when you threw powder, all you did was remind me that dignity doesn't flinch. The crowd now stood shoulder to shoulder, unmoving. Even Lexi's crew had lowered their cameras. A little girl whispered, Daddy, is he a soldier? The father's voice cracked. Yes, sweetheart. The kind we don't deserve. Wren turned slightly toward Lexi. You don't owe me an apology. You owe yourself a question. What does it say about us when silence is mocked, but shouting is applauded? He returned to position, raised his right hand, and in one fluid motion saluted, not to Lexi, not to the crowd, but toward the palace, toward those not present. Lexi stood in place, mouth slightly open, mascara beginning to smudge. Not from heat, from something she hadn't expected to feel. Shame. Her fingers loosened around the phone. The lens tilted, losing focus. Her camera crew didn't say a word. One of them simply whispered, Damn. Tourists began stepping back, not out of disinterest, but reverence. A veteran in the crowd, leaning on a cane, saluted. No one dared speak, because silence now belonged to him. That night, a video titled, "He Didn't Yell, He Didn't Move, He Just Taught Us All," was posted by a random tourist. By morning, it had 12 million views. Comment sections exploded, not with emojis or jokes, but with full paragraphs. "My father served. I cried watching this. We forgot what respect looked like. This reminded me. This is the kind of discipline I want my son to learn. He made me proud of a uniform I don't even wear." The original influencer's video was also posted, but with a note: "I got it wrong. This man stood still, and still managed to move me more than anyone ever has." 2 days later, a sealed envelope was delivered to Sergeant Thomas Wren's locker. Inside, a short, handwritten letter. "Discipline is not the absence of emotion, but the control of it for something greater." Your example, though unplanned, reflected this kingdom's finest tradition. Charles R. Attached was a folded parchment, an invitation to stand as lead ceremonial guard for Remembrance Day. Wren closed the locker, sat on the bench, looked down at his gloves, still faintly dusted with powder, and smiled for the first time in weeks. Back at the palace square, days later, a new rope line, a new crowd, but whispers still floated in the air. "That's where it happened. That's the guard." He didn't even raise his voice. And yet, I'll never forget what he said. A child in the front asked her father, "Will he talk again?" The father shook his head with a smile. "He doesn't need to. He already said enough for all of us."